what happened at home?
What happened at home?
Yeah.
I'm not going by the version of neighbors, because there are varied versions, contradicting versions, and things that are refuted by facts. Like a lot of neighbors said that they were eating up the body. They had eaten up the organs, which is not true at all. It's not true. In my opinion, there are only two things. One is that the two dogs could have gotten into a fight, and ma'am could have tried to intervene, and she fell down. Because one thing is for sure, whatever happened when she was in a lying down position, going by the places where the bite happened, which is around the neck area and a little under the chest, the stomach beginning area. She could have either fallen down, and in that heightened state of aggression, those who own pets would agree with me that whenever the dogs get into a fight, and even when you try to separate them, a lot of times their hands get bitten. And the moment the dogs realize that they have actually bitten you and not the other dog, they leave and they step back.
They backtrack,
and they have that guilty look.
Exactly.
So this is one thing. And I'll come to the bite force a little later. And this is a strong dog, and that's a fragile lady. Wrong combination. So the bite happened for a very little time. It was not like how was being told in media, that it went on and on and on and on and on. No, it did not happen like that. Why do I think it did not happen like that? There was a whole beard of people over there, and nobody has a single video. Nobody. Everybody had their phones to call up, but they did not. They called up 112, they called up everybody, but nobody has a single video. It's very difficult to believe.
And in today's world, the first thing we do is we take out our phone and start saying, well, I'll share this video.
Absolutely. Even fraction second accidents are recorded.
Yes, ma'am.
And here's a thing you're saying, episode which is going on, and nobody has a video.
Fair
I
enough.
do not believe it. So when I say that thing happened, whatever happened in few seconds, say 30 seconds, 60 seconds max. And yes, of course, ma'am must be screaming in pain. Of course, she would be screaming in pain. There is a head injury which she had, which probably came when she fell down.
Exactly.
We do not have the postmortem report yet. It has not been released yet. Amit is also waiting for the postmortem report. We are also waiting for the postmortem report so that we can have more clarity on it. But what we do know, since he had access to the body, he knows there is a head injury and there were bite marks. The second thing, which I think is more probable, has high probability, is that she actually tripped over a sleeping brownie. Now, again, pet parents would know that if a dog is sleeping and you step on that dog, on his tail, on his hand,
out of fear, they attack, they snap, out of defense.
They're actually startled. They have no idea what's happened. I mean, even a mother would push away a child if he is to fall on her while she's sleeping, right? So it's not that he's attacking. He just responded. Okay. So if you step on a dog, we have to understand this point, that if you step on a dog, he's going to grab whatever is close to his mouth. If it is your foot, he will grab your foot. If it is your hand, he'll grab your hand. And if you fall, and if it is your face or your neck or your shoulder, whatever is closest, he will grab that, because he's not planning and attacking. He is only grabbing whatever came in his sleep, attacked him. You know, this is how it works.
So there is a possibility she stepped on him and maybe she fell down, or maybe he attacked.
I don't think she stepped on her. I think she fell.
Okay.
She tripped, because it's early morning. You have to see, it's 5 o'clock, early morning.
Okay.
She could be sleepy. The dog could have been sleeping. So these are the two scenarios which I think which could have triggered the attack. That there are 4 categories of dogs. There are community dogs who live in the streets, not owned by anybody, not people. There are feeders and caretakers, but they live in the street. They have one nature, separate. There are wild dogs who live in the jungles. The feral dogs and the wild dogs, who are a different category altogether. They hunt. They are completely different species. That they are wild dogs. Then there are domestic dogs, the pet dogs, who we say we own them. I say we parent them. They behave differently, and they are a different category. And then there are trained dogs who are trained to perform a certain task.
Correct.
Either military, you can train them to kill, you can train them to sniff out drugs or explosives. So they are trained dogs. Okay. So these are the 4 categories. We'll limit ourselves because you can train them to do almost anything. They're very smart. There are, when you say there are guard dogs as well, well, they're specifically the trained dogs that you're training them to be aggressive. You
Correct.
want them to be aggressive. So what is it that you do when they are pups to make them aggressive? You are told to feed them raw flesh. Brings out those hunting and killer instincts. Sometimes give them raw blood. You tie them. You're told to tie them with a very short chain, as long as possible. Keep them tied. Minimize their interaction with people. So a lot of people are told to keep them in dark rooms for a certain period of time, say 4 to 5 months. Keep them in dark room. Only one person is going to interact with that
Correct.
dog, nobody else. So these are the things that, and you are supposed to, there is going to be an exercise daily where you irritate the dog. And that irritation and frustration builds up. And the moment you will open the chain, he's just going to lash out like a, bullet. So you
is
give
this
him
training
shouts.
or is this cruelty? Are you training?
Cruelty,
It is absolute cruelty, ma'am. You are teaching a dog to be hostile, to be harmful, to be dangerous. And all you're teaching the dog to do is love one, love two, and attack the rest. This is cruelty, ma'am.
Absolutely, 100%. So what you do is you give them something, a toy or a rope or something, and you keep pulling. And then you give them food, and with a stick or something, you remove the food while he's having it. So you understand, these are the things that build up irritation. Why I specifically mentioned this is also that the viewers and audience must know that as pups, when we are making Instagram reels, sometimes as that little tiny cute pup, we do the same things. We give them something, we pull, they come and nibble, and that's a very cute reel to make. But you forget that one day they are going to grow up.
Exactly.
Okay, so do not do these things. These things are done to specifically make and raise an aggressive dog. So we don't do this.
I'd like to ask you, you'll know this better, much better, ma'am. Rottweilers are supposed to be aggressive. No, that's the assumption. Pitbulls are supposed to be very, very aggressive. So is this the nature of the breed, or is this the way the previous hereditary parents actually brought them in to be, and that it was accustomed to be, this is how they will be, this is what the use is for, this is how they will protect humanity, this is how they will love humanity, this is how humanity will use them?
Yes, unfortunately, a lot of damage has been done in the last, I would put 200 to 300 years. And a lot of understanding of dogs has changed because of a lot of literature that has been put out mainly by the Western countries, by the West, I would say. No, I do not think, and I do not know of any breed that is congenitally by birth aggressive. The way you raise them is how they are going to become.
Cruelty happens every day, ma'am. On the road, when someone goes above speed limit, they hit a dog and they walk off. Are you holding the driver responsible? He goes scot-free. When these reels are made, what happened? So what is SPCA's role on a daily basis? It is called prevention, ma'am, not protection. Where is prevention here, ma'am?
Yes, beautiful point raised. And this is something that I myself keep raising from time to time, and I keep fighting against it. First of all, the constitution of SPCA. If we leave the metro cities and some other cities, first of all, SPCA, which is a mandatory body, is not there at all. People do not even know. The police doesn't even know what does this word SPCA mean. There has to be a proper constitution of this body where you put the right people. Just because it comes with certain powers, so you know how it is. whoever is in a position of power wants someone of his placed over there. So there are no meetings that happen of SPCA because the members are not the ones who are working with passion. Now, breeders are to be regulated. The breeding has been, banned without. It's all illegal breeding because they don't hold any license at all. The rules say, pet shop breeders and rules say that you need to have a line of where you are giving your dog. Are they capable of taking care of the dog? Who is the owner, the house check, and everything, all information has to be there. Not a single breeder in the entire country would have that kind of an information because they're not bothered. You give them money, you take the pup, and that's where the story ends. Correct. You look at NGOs, how they give for adoption. They'll have a proper questionnaire. They'll ask you, how much do you earn? How many members are there in your house? What is the square foot area that you have in your house? Do you have a personal garden, or do you have access to parks?
Who's going to take them? And they follow up.
Who's going to take them out for walks? Who's going to take them to vets? Is there any member in the family who is averse to pets? Dogs? And is there a toddler at home or a senior citizen at home? Because I'm not going to give an adult, like we don't give breed dogs unless they are abandoned, so they are essentially adult dogs. So I'm not going to give a dog who's not raised in your house if you have a little toddler, if you have a senior citizen, because like I said, I'll describe the bite force a little later. So these are big dogs. So first thing first, keep an indie, because they are suited to our temperature, our environment. They are not going to get extra irked up during summers. Their tongues are not going to be hanging out even in a 10-minute walk. And another big problem is neighborhood. People are objecting to walking dogs. So what has happened, what has become the new norm, is that you will take your dogs, as soon as they relieve themselves, they finish their business, you bring them back. There are no walks. Earlier, during our times, people, the senior citizens usually, or the couples, used to come out with their dog and have a nice 1.5 hour walk and go back. So what would happen is that the dog would socialize with a lot of strangers. Not just his immediate neighborhood, but a lot of strangers. The community dogs would be a lot more tolerant because they would be seeing a whole lot of dogs coming and going. So all of that, because of this intolerance we have developed, that don't walk your dog in front of my house, all the fights happening in law and order. So all this is going away, which is not a good sign. It's a red flag. We have to know, first thing is that these neighbors were so nasty that they never allowed the dog to come out of his house ever since. In the last 3 years is the age of the dog, and she was never allowed to come out. Now, this guy has a 6,000 square foot house and a lot of open area and an open terrace. So the dogs were inside, and they were relieving themselves on the terrace. This incident happened now, but the dogs were never allowed to be walked outside. So that's a red flag, which the neighbors today, whoever is objecting, they must realize they have played a role probably somewhere in some way. We have the dog under observation now. She's been under observation. She has displayed no signs of aggression. It's all strangers who are meeting her now. They're giving her food. She just stays there. She looks so sad. She has sadness. And for the first 2 days, Amit tells that she did not have any food at all at home. Even the bowl of water was almost as much as was left. So we don't know whether she sipped on it also. And when she reached in the shelter where she was taken to, she did not have any food at all different kinds were given. She was not having anything. Only much later when she was given chicken is when she actually had food. So we know this is classic guilt
There's
display.
a sense of remorse, regret.
Remorse that, something wrong has happened. An aggressive dog, if you go, the police trained dogs, military trained dogs, or the actual aggressive dogs which you see at some people's home, they're always somewhere tied up or somewhere. If they bite, they do not show any sign of remorse or guilt, because they don't even think it's something wrong. That's what they're supposed to do. So I don't think this dog is aggressive at all. She has not displayed any aggression, and this is an expert opinion, not my personal opinion.
Legally, does a neighbor have the right to say you can't have a dog?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. FIRs can be filed against such neighbors. And there is an AWPI advisory which says that, it was issued where people were objecting to walking off for dogs in parks, where it says that a dog needs its exercise. So you cannot object to people walking their dogs because a dog needs its physical exercise, else the aggression will build up, is what the language says. So we need to understand you can't do this. Now, in this case, and in cases of a lot of farmhouses where people have their dogs over there, they do not go out of the farmhouse. So as far as the physical activity part is concerned, since the area was so huge, so I don't think that was a factor so much. But not socializing with other people, definitely a factor. Not socializing with other animals, definitely a factor. And had this dog attacked on another person other than the family members, this would have been a prime factor which I would have been raising. But since the incident happened with a member of the house, hence this particular factor does not play a role over here. So here's a guy who's lost his mother in a horrid accident. Here's a guy who has been hounded by media. When he was, you have to imagine the pain of that guy when his mother was, he was lighting the pie for his mother. There were shots of his house with the lock on his door saying that he's absconding. Then some people come home and they snatch her away. They take her by force. And they make him give in writing that, yes, I'm giving her. The neighbors are saying they will poison her. That's the chatter in the neighborhood, that there is so much open area and they are deciding whether they should give it in chicken or they should just toss a poisoned food inside.
You know, ma'am, Kamna ma'am, I read about this as well, where the neighbors are threatening to poison the dog, kill the dog. Shouldn't they be put behind bars? Shouldn't they be taken away? Shouldn't they be put a case on them? Shouldn't they are threatening to take somebody's life, ma'am?
Exactly. Right now, see, Amit is, because there's something called the locus standi. Amit is the person who needs to take that action. And right now,
he's not in the mind.
He's not in a mindset to deal with it at all. In fact, media is going all berserk because he's refusing to give statements after what he's heard about himself and all the speculations. He doesn't want to give statements, and there are media people who threatened him that you wait and watch what we are going to run now. How inhumane have we become? There's no sensitivity in us. Profiteering and TRP ratings are overtaking the human value, that you need to sympathize with that person right now. Give him his time to breathe over his mother's loss and all of whatever is going on around him. It's really sad. Brownie has never, she can't do it. His mom used to feed her with her hands. She used to eat with one hand, right hand, and with the left hand, she used to be feeding Brownie at the same time, the same chapatis. He cannot imagine. We have no right to, go into this spiral, into this speculation circle.
Media has to ask questions, not force answers. Media has to allow people to decide, not take a decision and force it on the people. Today's media is nothing short of corrupt, ma'am. Nothing short of corrupt and a hunt for TRP. Tell me your experience, how it's been, ma'am.
A lot of channels have taken my my interviews, my bites, and it is really sad that I have explained, which I will definitely explain here as well, that what is the difference between when I say all breeds are the way you raise them is what they'll become, and this dog is not aggressive, then I was explaining to all of them that what is the difference between a pit bull and, let's say, an indie dog. And they cut out the rest of the things and they just played that part, making it sound as if, I'm just, condoning the thing that yes, pit bulls should be banned because it suits their narrative. It's not about narrative. A human life has been lost forever. A son has lost his mother. We have to understand things, and whatever action we take, whatever posts we share, whatever opinions we put out, it has to be with absolute responsibility to avert something like this happening again. The neighbors need to understand the needs of pets, the needs of dogs. Bottom line, underlined, aggression in any dog, whether it is community dog or it is pet dogs, unless they are trained to be aggressive, it comes from fear for their own defense. Do not make them defensive. Do not make them feel that you can harm them with your actions, with your words, because they might not understand your language. They get your feelings like this. Whether you are going to harm them or no dog bites its feeders. You would see, that same community dog would never growl at its feeder. So they get your feelings. So do not make them defensive. Number one, do not object on your neighbors walking their pets. That is essential for your own safety. Number two, the response time of hospitals. You cannot let a woman keep lying over there bleeding, not attend, and then say, okay, you take her to some other hospital, and then again she's lying over there for so long. Something needs to be done. This is beyond my reach, but the governments or whoever powerful people are hearing this today, somebody needs to do about this. This is the second thing. The third thing is that we need to also understand that when Nagar Nigams are the municipalities, they need to play a role. Nobody even knew the color of Brownie till this incident happened because they never allowed her to come out. So if she comes back to her home, how are you in danger? Because you anyway never allowed her to come out. She's anyway not going to come out now also. So what is the problem? Who are you to raise an objection? If there's anybody who has a locus standi here, if there's anybody who has a say in this case, it is only and only Amit. He is the one who's lost. He's the one who knows the whole situation. He's the one who's going to live with that dog. If he feels safe with her, who are you to object? It's like saying, I have a zoo very close to my house. And there are dangerous animals inside. Yes, there are. But are they coming out? Are they coming in your house? Are you interacting with that animal? No. There is something called the bite force, the jaw strength, which is measured in bite force for any animal. A crocodile has different bite force. A shark has a different bite force. So when we say bite force, these animals have a very strong jaw. So there is nothing wrong with their behavior. There's nothing wrong with their temperament or, their breed per se. It is their jaws. It is the structuring of their teeth, which is very strong, which is why you need to know if you are going in for a pedigree dog, know that when he responds, if he responds like any other dog in that situation would, Fantastic. This is a big dog. This is a strong dog. Till I made the post, everybody was cursing Amit. Everybody was cursing this dog. I think this poor Brownie is the most hated and the most cursed dog, Pitbull I know. And nobody is seeing. If you only go and visit her, you would see that pain. If she could speak, she would say, I would do anything in this world to undo. It's as much a loss to her as it is for Amit, because she doesn't know who is birthing whom and what is blood relation. For her, she was her mother too. And she too has lost her mother. So let's not be species specific. It could be there are incidents, where a father has irresponsibly kept a gun and a child by mistake has just pulled the trigger and his grandparent died. This has happened in India itself. What are you going to do with that child? Are you going to abandon that child? Because it happened accidentally, will the neighbors say that go throw him out of your house, let him not come back ever because he can kill my parent too? He never did it on purpose. He's not going to. Similarly, this child, this girl, Brownie, did not do it on purpose. If she was aggressive, the response would have been different. And we are not even saying that we are going to give her back to the parent just like that. We are going to let her be with a trainer for some time. She's already been under observation and the vets have given completely clean sheet to her. She is not aggressive at all. Different people have attended. She's not aggressive at all. She's going to be with a trainer, not because she's aggressive, but because she has undergone heavy trauma. So what you do as counseling for a human child is what a behaviorist would do for her. And then she has to go back and dare the neighbors poison her, you pay for it. There is a term for up to 5 years of jail time, imprisonment, and you will face that. You've already ruined a person's life and you've been the most inhuman people that I know, insensitive. Please don't carry it on.
This is Chennai Live, Radio Redefined.